Every person on the planet can understand how important proper clothing is on your health, your comfort, and your confidence. And for school children, a lack of proper clothing can inhibit proper social and educational development. Today we are here at A Note in the Pocket in Raleigh. We are inside one of their massive storage rooms here. So it's really great to finally be out again and hear how this specific nonprofit here works with students in the area and helps them be able to thrive in school and life through providing them with appropriate clothing. So welcome to the Good Guide to Business, a podcast presented by the Better Business Bureau.
The Good Guide is all about conversations with businesses, organizations, and local leaders who are going above and beyond to make the community a better place.
So grab a cup of coffee and get ready to hear from this episode's special guest, Sarah Caldwell from Note in the Pocket. Thanks for joining us, Sarah.
Thank you so much for having me.
So first, can you just tell us about the mission of Note in the Pocket and what work you do to achieve that mission?
Yes. So Note in the Pocket has a unique history and a unique story. We were actually started back in 2005 by a kindergarten teacher. She had just graduated from college and she was so excited to teach and be in the classroom. It was the beginning of the school year, and she had such an enthusiasm for the start of a new school year, and she thought she'd see that same enthusiasm in her students. And unfortunately, she didn't. They were uncomfortable in the classroom. They weren't as excited to be there as she was. And she quickly realized that's because they were coming to school hungry. Their clothes weren't fitting. And so their basic needs weren't being met. And she thought, how can I help them be successful in the classroom when they're not mentally, physically, emotionally prepared and ready to learn? So she went to her mom, and they decided they couldn't fix everything, but they could at least ensure that every child had a coat before the winter season. So they collected coats from neighbors, friends, and they gave a coat to every kid in the class. And for many of these students, this was the first coat that was their own, and they were so excited to get those coats. But the next day, several of the students brought the coats back because their parents couldn't believe someone had just given their child a coat. Where did these coats come from? So the teacher put a note in the pocket of the coat that said, "This is your child's to keep. This is a gift from the community." And that's truly what Note in the Pocket is. We are the community. We're supported by the community in volunteer hours, clothing donations, financial donations, partnerships, and support. We couldn't do what we do without the community. And from there, Note in the Pocket was born. And our mission is really focused on clothing children and families with dignity and love.
That's really great, and it's awesome to hear how you guys got started, but even more so, it really sounds like you guys have grown a lot. So on here, it says that you guys last year clothed more than 6,700 individuals. That's awesome. That's outstanding. Now, I wanted to ask, how do you find these children in need that you help, and also, how do you keep up with their needs?
Yes, so we work with referral partners across our community. We primarily work with school social workers from Wake County Public Schools, and then we have a dozen or so other human service agencies that are serving homeless and impoverished families here in our community. Those social workers will identify a student, a child and family that are in need of clothing, and they send the request to us. And it'll have the child's age, their clothing size, their likes, their dislikes, and our team will assemble what we call a mini wardrobe. So a season's worth of clothing that provides tops and bottoms that someone can mix and match, new socks, new underwear. We package these mini wardrobes for those individuals, and we still put a note in each of those packages that says, "You are loved." Again, continuing our mission of spreading love and clothing these individuals with dignity and love.
So since you've been talking about this theme of dignity, what does it mean to provide someone with clothing with dignity, and why is dignity so important to your brand, maintaining that?
I think it really speaks to our goal of empowering these students and giving them confidence in the classroom. I think as adults, we can all agree that when we're getting ready for work or when we're getting ready for an interview and we put on our favorite dress or that favorite shirt that really makes us stand taller and gives us that confidence to be our best self, we need to do the same for our students. And therefore, it's extremely important that the clothing that we are providing for our children and families is new or like new quality. We want them to open their bag of clothing and know that it was packaged and assembled with love. We had a request over the summer from one of our referral partners that was for a young girl who was attending summer camp. And the request said, young girl, age 8, needs clothes for summer camp, closed-toed shoes, athletic shorts, shirts. But this child is really interested in becoming a scientist. And so any shirts that you have that have science themed or math or space, she would love that. And so our volunteers were able to put together a wardrobe specifically for that little girl. And when she opened her bag of clothes, she was so excited. And she can now wear those shirts to camp and dream big and dream of being a scientist and have the confidence to work towards those goals.
That's really great to hear. And I bet having the kind of clothing that, is something that you want, that really can make a difference, especially for a young child. Something as inspirational as that, I think could be huge for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, there are so many needs that children have. Why is clothing so vital to their success?
Clothing is a part of the puzzle. It's a part of the way that we can prepare these students for success in the classroom and beyond. It is certainly not the only piece of the puzzle, but it's a piece that is not being addressed or talked about at a large enough scale. We have programs for adults that talk about clothing insecurity, but there really aren't other programs that are addressing it for our children.
Yeah. And do you work with particular age groups, or is it all school-aged children?
Over the past couple of years, we've been able to expand our age range and the ages that we focus on. So our referral partners can now initiate a request for clothing from birth through 18. And at that time, they can also request clothes for older adults in the household. And that growth has really come from, our growth and our capacity. And the earlier that we can address a child's basic needs, the better they are set up for long-term success.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. And so you said you make like a mini wardrobe, and it sounds like it's a seasonal sort of thing. Do you, maybe off the top of your head, have like a number per season that you help students generally?
So our goal for this year is to clothe 8,000 individuals. We right now are in some of our busiest months. Already, it's the 26th of October, and already we've received over 800 requests this month alone. Wow. August and September, I believe we had received over 1,000 requests in each of those months. We, again, clothe with dignity and love, and our mini wardrobe program is completely confidential. We don't know the family's name, their address, where they're from, and we do that so that they don't have to tell their story to one other agency. They're not coming and picking through a table of clothing. We are able to clothe them, again, with dignity.
So you put the clothes together and then you give them back to the partners that are associated with school and they deliver them to the students?
Correct. So our referral partners can either come here to our warehouse, our location in Raleigh, and pick up the clothing packages, the clothing bundles, or we have volunteers that will help us drive and distribute them across Wake County, and then the social workers will ensure that it gets to the families.
That's really great how you're able to help them through basically the whole process. Because you think about a lot of these parents probably, have a lot going on to the point where it'd be difficult for them to find the time to help out like this. And the fact that you basically take over every single step, I think, is a huge load off the shoulders.
Yeah. And not just physical labor, but emotional labor, having to think about what the kids might want clothes-wise. It's a whole other level of helping them on top of just the physical clothing.
Mm-hmm.
So what kinds of items are you looking for to be donated, and what are some things that people should avoid donating?
So since we clothe really all ages, we accept clothing and shoes for all ages, from infant through adult. Many of our middle school and high school students are wearing adult-size clothing. So, I hate to say we're in need of all sizes, but we are constantly in need of all sizes of clothing, from, newborn all the way up through some of those larger adult sizes. And as we are continuing to grow, we're going through clothing at a much faster rate. Our volunteers will process the donations and fold it, and as soon as our shelvers can get it on our wardrobe room shelves, it can be out the door the next day.
Wow, that was a quick turnaround. All right, so we're going to take an ad break really quick, and then we'll be back after we thank some of our sponsors. This episode of the Good Guide to Business podcast is brought to you by Ultra Roofing. Ultra Roofing is a family-run roofing business serving the Triangle and surrounding areas with over 15 years of experience. Through our business, we cherish the opportunity to share our life, passion, and success with those that we love and trust.
At Ultra Roofing, we take pride in the roofs we install because our name and reputation are at stake. "We got you covered" is more than just a slogan. It's our mantra. We treat every roof we install with the utmost care. We don't take shortcuts, and we don't use lesser quality materials. What you say about us matters, and we don't take any job for granted. When you work with Ultra Roofing, you won't be disappointed with the end result.
Visit ultraroofing.net today or call 800-977-3110. That's 800-977-3110.
Now, we are coming towards the end of October. This will be airing early November, so we're in the holiday season now. Mm-hmm. Are there any items that are more needed than others, especially right now?
So we are getting ready for our annual Giving Shoes Day campaign. So I'm sure you might be familiar with the Giving Tuesday holiday, the Tuesday after Thanksgiving. Last year, we shifted that a little bit and turned it into Giving Shoes Day.
I love that.
So a little fun play on that. So the Tuesday after Thanksgiving, we will be focused on raising funds to help purchase new shoes and also collecting shoes. So we would love for people to get involved with that campaign. Donating shoes of all sizes is something that we are always in need of.
And do you have plans for growth of Note in the Pocket in the future?
We do. So this year we actually launched our program expansion into Durham. So we have been focused on serving children and families in Wake County, but as we have grown in our capacity and our ability, we are excited to begin serving the Triangle region. We hosted 2 clothing distribution events this summer in Durham, and were able to clothe over 300 children and families between those two events. And next year, we will be celebrating our 10th anniversary as a nonprofit organization, and really becoming a full Triangle serving agency.
That's awesome.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yes,
That's amazing.
we're very excited about that, and we couldn't do it without the community support.
Are you going to be opening other facilities, or is it like this one just reaching further?
So our hope is that we will have a physical space in Durham that would serve as a place for individuals to drop off clothing donations and a small space for volunteers. But then those clothes would still come back here to our donation center in Raleigh, where they would be put into inventory, put on our shelves, and then this is where we still would be assembling our mini wardrobes. But we're looking for space in Durham, and in the interim, we're looking for Durham businesses, partners, groups that want to host clothing drives and help collect clothing donations.
That's great. And so BBB, we actually came and volunteered with you guys earlier this year too. It was really great coming and helping out and sorting clothes. So for our listeners and our viewers, they can only really see this small part. Mm-hmm. This facility is huge. It's massive. Can you provide some context as to how big this is or how much clothing you have in here?
Yes. So our new volunteer and donation center that we moved into last year, we now have 29,000 square feet of space. So prior to the pandemic, our location was about 8,000 square feet of space. And that whole location and program setup could fit in the room that we're in now. So the building that we're in now, we had opened actually as a temporary second location during the pandemic. It provided us space to socially distance our volunteers and have more space to accept clothing donations. And as we were continuing to grow, we knew that we wouldn't be able to go back to just our 8,000 square feet of space. So we were very fortunate to work with the team here at Crossroads Fellowship and expand our footprint and take over some more room and space that they had available. So now with 29,000 square feet of space, we're able to have a wardrobe room that has all seasons of clothes out at a time, especially in this North Carolina weather where it might be cold in the morning, hot by the end of the day. Yeah. You know, we're giving out short sleeve, long sleeve, shorts, pants, a lot of different clothes. And then we have a space that really allows us to have larger volunteer groups and to store even more clothing donations. Last year, we processed over 240,000 pounds of clothing donations. And since becoming a 501c3 in 2013, in that time, we've processed 1 million pounds of clothing donations.
That's insane.
Which is equivalent to 40 school buses.
Wow.
So we, again, you know, we couldn't do that without the community's support. And as we continue to grow, those numbers are only going to continue to grow as well. So this space is truly making an impact on our ability to grow.
Now, you did just mention Giving Shoes Day. I still love that name so
yes.
much. Are there any other events you have that are coming up, and how can our listeners support you?
Yes. So it is approaching the end of the year and the holiday season. So in addition to Giving Shoes Day, we also have our holiday pocket trees. So kind of our version of an angel tree where we will provide businesses, organizations, faith communities, civic groups, neighborhoods, really anyone can host a pocket tree. It's our Note in the Pocket logo, kind of as an ornament, and on the back, each of the tags will have an item from our urgent needs wish list. So that's something you can set up in your business, and your community can, shop, take a tag from the tree, and shop for an item on our urgent needs wish list. So we've got some great opportunities for people to get involved between Giving Shoes Day, our holiday pocket tree, and just coming out and volunteering with us, or knowing that we're a place for you to donate your clothing and shoes.
So our service area reaches obviously in the Triangle, but out through eastern North Carolina, a lot of it anyway. And since primarily you work in Wake County, soon to be more of the Triangle, is there ways that people who live outside of that area can get involved, or do you have advice doing their own thing?
Yeah. So, as Note in the Pocket as an organization really looks at our strategic growth and kind of where we might be going next. We often hear and get information requests from people across the state of North Carolina wanting a Note in the Pocket in their community. And we are really working to inspire that grassroots movement in other communities. I mean, the same way that Note in the Pocket was started. We were started in someone's garage. A family, the new kindergarten teacher and her family that started Note in the Pocket really as a grassroots community movement. There is such a need in other areas of North Carolina, and again, the issue of clothing security that's not being addressed. So we encourage people to gather your faith community, gather your civic group, host a clothing drive, have a conversation with some of the agencies that are in your neighborhood, and find out what their families need. Partner with them to host a sock and underwear collection, or to host a clothing drive and to be able to help meet that need.
That's great. Now, for our listeners that are actually local and in the Triangle, how can they get involved and start volunteering with you guys?
Yeah, so I welcome everyone to come and volunteer with us. We have more information about volunteering on our website, noteinthepocket.org. You can also follow us on social media at Note in the Pocket. We regularly post information about our volunteer opportunities, about our urgent clothing needs, and how to host a clothing drive. And, come out and visit us. We'd love to have more volunteers.
And is all your social media at Note in the Pocket?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Awesome. Well, it was really great being here, getting out again, and seeing all the stuff that you have going on in this warehouse. It's amazing how much you guys can do and how much more you're even planning on.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much for the opportunity to help to continue to raise awareness about the issue of clothing security and how everyone can come together and make an impact.
Yeah. And to all of our listeners and viewers, thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of The Good Guide to Business.
Follow us on social media at BBB Eastern NC on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and listen to The Good Guide on Spotify or Apple Music or wherever else you get your podcasts. We release episodes twice a month on Wednesday.
Stay safe, you guys, and we'll see you next time.